watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community. And I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leck.
And together we are Raw Break. And we're right here, for a few minutes after AEW Full Gear just took place, and we're going to talk about absolutely everything. I think, Jean-Paul, a pretty good pay-per-view for AEW to close the year.
Yeah, we always say AEW, and even sometimes the shows on, the weekly show isn't the best thing on television. The pay-per-views usually deliver. This one was no exception. Really good. They were saying that this was going to be the best pay-per-view that they've ever done. I don't know if I would agree with that, but I think if you're going to go was it one of the best or one of the worst that they've done? Because they haven't done too many. I would say it goes into the category of one of the better ones. This was a really good show, I thought.
Yes, and we got to go for Full Gear last year. Remember with Moxley and Kenny Omega, we watched that. I remember that, and then now Moxley and Kenny Omega one more time, so we get to see everything goes full circle in life. Mm-hmm. So it's cool, and for the most part, like you said, the shows are not good. Most of them are not really great, unless you are an AEW fan. But now I really have a really good taste in my mouth of everything that we saw. So it's pretty good. So we're gonna talk about everything. But before we do that, a big shout out to Glenn Davidson from Wrestling All Day All Night. He was gonna join us, but for other commitments that we have, we just had to prolong it. But he's gonna be a guest at the Survivor Series with us, so he's gonna be talking about all of that stuff. Also, Jean-Paul, you and I talk about SmackDown, and Jey Uso is Roman's puppet or Roman's bitch. In the title, I didn't want to just put that. I don't want anybody to be offended. Nowadays, everybody's sensitive because we have a new president. Whoop. Anyway, so Roman is still manipulating Jey. Look at that. He's so I don't have my own life. So watch all of that. More build up for the Survivor Series. All of that right there for SmackDown, Jean-Paul. So now tell me a little bit about the buy-in. Buy-in, that we had a really great match. With Serena Deeb, Allison Kay, the ones that don't remember her as under Sienna. That was her name on NWA and Impact. This was a pretty good match, and I really like this because again, you get to see the NWA Women's Championship exposed. You see that they worked out a deal with Tony Khan and Billy Corgan. They had a good match. We got to see, I think, Allison Kay or Sienna, they're gonna sign her, right, Jean-Paul? I just think.
Yeah, well, they even said that she's a free agent, so that her contract's over with at NWA, so she's a free agent, so she's most likely going to sign to AEW. That will be the biggest, next to when she was on Impact or TNA. This will be the biggest exposure that she's gotten. So, good for her if she does get signed. She'll definitely be one of the biggest stars in the women's division. And they need the help. And this match was really good.
Yes.
The one thing I like, because I'm Allison Kay was NWA champ before. Are they going to play hot potato? No. It seems like they're kind of sold on Serena Deeb as the champ for now, which is good. She deserves to have a legit title run, and I like the match here, and I also like the aftermath. We saw the former champ Thunder Rosa came out. Business isn't done yet, so that's good. And it's okay, maybe now because Serena Deeb was signed to almost at NXT AEW, and then maybe those NWA will get her. And then now, they'll get Allison Kay. It's almost like a switcheroo here of talent. So we'll see, but it was a good match.
And like you said, a good match between the two. Serena was the most powerful woman. She got a lot of advantage over Serena Deeb. She did it for even her finisher, the AK-47, I think it was. Is kind of like a slam. Not a power bomb, but it's just like a slam. And then Serena Deeb countered that with the Serena lock, or his finisher is pretty much like a single crab. That's what it was, right? And then, like you said, she keeps the win. I don't know if you take notice of this. Her picture is in the middle of the belt. I like that.
Really like that.
That's cool. That's something that no other title has that. So it's cool to see Thunder Rosa and see that the feud is gonna keep prolonging. There's gonna be more opportunities for these two to go at it. I'm really happy. Like you said, I don't know the status of Thunder Rosa with AEW. She kind of hinted WWE. I don't know the status of any of this, but at least the fact that they still have the NWA championship as part of AEW, and it's being portrayed pretty good. I'm really happy about it, and I'm all excited to see what happens after that.
I like this as well. This is almost. As I was watching this. I'm no offense to the title, but I'm it's almost like a mid card title or just another title in the women's division on AEW. And I'm like, it's a shame because I wish this was on NXT when there's a lot more legit women to fight over this stuff.
Yeah, no, but like you said, now imagine this: we have like Allison Kay, we have like Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb. Imagine that, and now we have Sheeta, Nyla Rose. Maybe at some point Statlander will come back. Mm-hmm. So like you see that there's a lot of variety.
I think Allie would wrestle. She could still be with the Butcher and the Blade, but she could also wrestle because she's
exactly. Like they don't give enough opportunities. Like that division, like Riho is nowhere to be found. Amy Zagra. There, I don't even know where she is now. Like if you look at her, like the McDonald's or Burger King or Arby's, thank you for the gyro of today. It was really good. No Suzuki sauce or extra mayo, good stuff. But like that's how I think that that's how you present a title. It looks good. You give them the relevance. It's legit. It looks good, and you gave us a good match for the buy-in. Of course, video packages. But see, AEW made me feel like this was really serious. Especially like you said in your review with like Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, I didn't give you a granddaughter because I just wanted to be the champion. I love that. Like all that narrative, excellent, John Paul. So let's go with the main show. And the main show started out with Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page. This to me, I was thinking that maybe they will put that towards the end of the card. Started out with this, but regardless, it was a good match, and you and me knew that this was going to be a great match from the get-go. Right? Yeah, there's no way that they still cannot give us a bad match or tell us a bad story.
Yeah, I really thought this match was going to be the second to last match. I thought it would go third from the last would be the TNT title, then this match, and then the main event. They started the show, but they wanted to start the show hot, so they put this match there. And this will be the one complaint I have about this match. I have the opposite complaint about every other match, is that this, I felt to me, it was a little short.
Yes.
Like the feud they really built up, they had the video package, you don't know what you got till it's gone and all that stuff. This was one of the main money matches.
This was
one of the matches that was selling the pay-per-view. And while it started out fast-paced, these guys locked up, they were hitting, they locked up, they were... they tried wrestling, but then the emotions just took over, and it was like, we don't want to wrestle. We want to beat each other up. We want to kick each other's ass. And it was good, and it told the story. But once they got shot out of a cannon and the speed really picked up, it never slowed down. So this match that went about 20 minutes didn't really feel like it. And to me, this could have went a half hour, 40 minutes, just because these guys have the cardio. They could have told the story, and I wish they would. But
and also more elements, right, Jean Paul? We got to see this guy, Impact's Wrestling, one of the producers, one of the main guys of Impact, Don Callis, was actually in commentary. It was actually in the video package before the match, and also was on commentary because he's really good friends with Kenny Omega. He said
that was really cool.
Yeah, so that's like you said, collaboration. See how everybody else in the wrestling world is all up for collaborating. They understand that this is
and that's because. And that's because, all these other guys, they aren't like Vince McMahon and weren't like, oh, screw you guys. I'm the only king in town.
Yes.
They're all like, let's work together, where Vince wants to be self-sufficient.
And like you said, they acknowledge this, for example, it says Impact Wrestling, EVP.
Even when the match was over, which we'll get into the finish then, but, when the match was over, JR, he's like, Don, thank you so much. He's like, you guys are doing great over in Impact. Keep it up. He even said that they're doing legit.
Yes, exactly. Kind of like a pat in the back. Hey guys, it's legit because, like you said, what are you trying to portray? Professional wrestling. You just want to. It's not competing. It's like, oh, my show is better than yours. No, it's like, let's keep promoting professional wrestling throughout the whole world, so our business keeps growing.
And also having it on here with all the AEW fans. If you mention Impact, Don Callis, JR said Impact's legit. Let me check it out on Tuesday.
And then you watch the shot on the shoot, the Bravo's wedding, and then you're
like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay, JR, you're just being bullshit, but that's what it is. But like you said, on the match, really good. The speed up really, really fast. Like I said, I love the counters. I love, of course, the beat trigger. I love how he countered the back shot lariat a few times. I love how he did the power bomb onto the before where the ring is. Right when you come in. Also the sit up power bomb. I really like that.
Even early on when Omega he did the moonsault when he ran and jumped off the barricade.
No, the Tope Computer, yeah.
No. Well, he jumped off the barricade and flipped and did a moonsault.
Oh yeah, also
on the Hangman. Yeah, that was really athletic on the barricade and stuff. Which it was really good. Just the whole match, and I love when I just love every time kicking out of the finishes. The only thing I didn't is when he actually hit the one winged angel. I didn't like how he had him up there and he was reaching for him. He's like and then he got it because I was like, oh, Hangman. I was like, oh, Hangman's gonna, he's gonna jump out and maybe, hit the buckshot, or then he's gonna dodge the buckshot, and I thought it was gonna keep going, but he grabbed him and he hit it, and I'm like, well, shit, it must be over because he's not kicking out, and of course he didn't kick out.
And you knew it was done. Yes, absolutely, Jean-Paul. And see, even though we saw the dead eye, that was a really good combination. I really like that when he hit the dead eye, and he really hooked the legs, and he was about to beat him, and it's like, is that? And then boom.
And I like that too, because I'm glad you mentioned that. I almost forgot that because he doesn't hit that very often anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, because now he kind of uses the buckshot Larry as the finisher. But now Jean-Paul, at least, Kenny, we know that he's going to fulfill his destiny. Like you said that in the reviews when you do Dynamite, pretty much he's going to be the one that's going to take the title out of Moxley, and Kenny Omega is going to finally have his big run as the face of the company, rightfully so. But what do we do with Adam Hangman Page, though? What is Jean-Paul Legge going to do to book this guy?
Well, right now you just put him in matches. You maybe do feuds. You could easily who's like a heel. I don't. If you want to do something with Shawn Spears, maybe you have him in the back, and Shawn Spears is like, "Hey, look at this asshole. Look at my record on AEW. I got like the last 10 matches. I won 9 of them, or whatever his record is. You can just talk shit to him, work a little feud. He wins that. Okay, maybe he goes in a feud with some other guy. Okay, you just slowly build him up while Omega does his other thing. And I wouldn't have them touch until a major pay-per-view or something.
Yeah, Revolution, because they announced Revolution for February.
Well, I would almost like have it be like a whole year. Maybe if you don't want to go until next Full Gear, that's what I would do.
Well, we have Pac. The Pac is coming back. We didn't see any surprises. Everybody said Sting is coming back. Nothing. So
we saw 2 surprises, and if you combine the 2 guys we saw, it might equal Sting, but no.
You're right. Well, the code matches the Sting, but at least Kenny Omega is the number 1 contender for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship.
Good opening match.
Probably a 9 out of 10. I will say that. So let's go to one that was way too long. There's no point on this, and I think that the person that got most benefit from this was actually the loser, and that is John Silver, number 4 from the Dark Order against Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed. I think that John Silver looked really good, Jean-Paul. We always mention him that he's like a midget from Braun Strowman with the beard. Every time that he goes to the ring, is no, son, you got kindergarten is on the other way. Go back. No, but he actually looked really good. He at some point I thought that he was going to win because he looked that great. He dominated most of the match. He's fast. He's flexible. The kicks are really strong, really violent. A lot of strength. I really like this. But I don't know what to do with Orange Cassidy now because he didn't look great, and he should have put him away in a lot less time.
I think they're just wanting to have Orange Cassidy look strong because he's a fan favorite or Tony Khan favorite or whatever. I agree with you 100% with John Silver. He acts like, JR always says it, he's all hopped up on Mountain Dew. He has the sugar rush. He's all crazy. But then when they actually had the match and you actually see this guy wrestle, you're like, oh, he isn't just an angry little guy. He can actually wrestle. This guy's really good. And then, like I told you, he's trained by Brian Myers, who also trained, MJF, Chris Statlander, a bunch of legit people. So you're like, oh, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. And he benefited the most from this. JR was putting him over big about how good he is because this is the first real match we saw from this guy. And I thought he looked good, and I thought Orange Cassidy looked good in this too. And I think that's to a test for John Silver, though.
Yeah, no, this is going to help him out to, even JR, like you said in commentary, he's like, hey, this guy should be fighting for some singles title. He needs to break off the Dark Order and just start fighting for his own goal.
At some point, they're going to break up the Dark Order because it completely flopped. I could see Silver and Alex being a babyface tag team, split them off. Cole Cabana could just do whatever. He's Cole Cabana, who cares? And then Brody Lee will be nothing. But I could definitely see, there's going to be a good future for this guy. Yeah, I think.
And of course Orange Cassidy he hit the orange punch, and then the beach break. That's the finisher, and then he put him away. I like this spot that we have in the picture when he took off the pockets.
Oh, when he ripped his pockets off. Except
it doesn't do anything. It doesn't hurt me.
And when he put him in his mouth, it's like what? You know what I mean? It's like the guy's good, and then he does goofy shit, and you're like, all right.
Yeah, it's one of those things, but hopefully Orange Cassidy, Now, it's either like he has to go for the TNT Championship. He needs to go against maybe, we know that like the championship match is John Moxley, but he needs a strong feud because it's Orange Cassidy like is such a fan favorite or like Tony Khan favorite. But if he's in feuds like this, it's like you're losing, you're wasting him.
I mean, but see, that's the thing with the guy. I mean, to me, I don't think he should ever be a champion because of it. I just don't think he should be. So to me, you want to have him win matches, that's fine. But then you can just go back to what he did, what we saw him in the show. Just go hang out with the best friends.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, you just win matches and do nothing.
No,
he doesn't need to have a belt.
I mean, he's over, so I mean,
it's good enough for him. They all get paid the same anyway. I'm sure they don't get paid that much extra being a champ.
Well, according to JR, you get, but like probably like you're right on that. So Jean Paul, let's go to the next match, and that's the TNT Championship match. Darby Allin against Cody. This was a pretty decent match. We've seen this, throughout AEW's like existence, and we did knew that like it was gonna be a good match. But the difference is like you saw Darby Allin like more resilient. Darby Allin was not gonna quit this time. Everything Cody was acting more heel than anything, and actually underestimating Darby Allin. I think that was the whole narrative, the whole story. It was just Cody being like, hey, I beat you before. I know how to put you away. I know what I can do and what I need to do to just like finish you. But like Darby Allin, even like Steve Jean-Paul in the video package. Oh, I know he's going to win. I'm like, really? And then and after that, I'm like, are you guys joking? What's going on here? But overall, I feel that like it was a pretty good match. And like Darby Allin at least gets what like everybody's been asking for, because we always say it's like pretty much the bootleg of Jeff Hardy. So finally he gets a championship, and we'll see what they can do with him, because sometimes I think that like he's not believable. Sometimes I believe he can be better. So like I want to see what they do with him as a champion.
Yeah, the match, I really enjoyed it, and the only thing I didn't like is, of course, it's just Cody. Am I shitting on Cody? Maybe, but it is what it is. He comes out with the whole Nightmare family like he does. It's like, okay, whatever. But at the end of the thing, there was a beautiful spot where Darby hit the coffin drop. He went right into the cover, and it's like, can he pin him? Can it be legit? And it's like, no, or like,
no.
It's just, it had to be a series. It had to be, kicked out of his finisher, which is fine because it's a championship match. It's like, when Shawn kicked out of the Tombstone, Taker kicks out of Sweet Chin Music. It's fine. But, that's WrestleMania. That's, those guys are legends. Nothing against Cody and Darby Allin, but these guys aren't legends. You kick out of Darby Allin's finisher, that's something that people remember. It's like, his finisher's not legit. People kick out of it.
Oh, yeah?
So it's not like, what? Don't kick out of his finisher, especially if you're going to lose. If Cody would have won, then it's okay. But, then they had to exchange a series of roll-ups. And I don't know if you noticed, Cody had to do a Hulk Hogan, and he had to kick out right after 3.
Oh, yeah. Well, like...
it was like you couldn't just let it be like 1, 2, 3, and then just be like, Like
I said, he was acting more heel than anything,
Yeah, which they got to turn him heel. Like I said, I think it would be too soon to do it at the pay-per-view, but I said if Cody loses, you got to turn him heel.
Yeah, because like you said, after the pinning combinations, Darby Allin beats him. I mean, I like how Arn Anderson was kind of like instructing him of doing things. Mm-hmm. Hey, like don't fall for that crap. Like Darby kind of looked not so convinced during the match that he was going to win it, but yet resilient enough. And then,
I do like his Darby Allin's like the body paint, the face paint.
Yeah, we can see the picture a little bit faded by the time.
It was like a tree or something. It was like different. It looked cool. I like how he did something different and special for the pay-per-view.
Yes. And also, like, after that, we got to see an attack from, like, Taz. We got to see Ricky Starks. We got to see Brian Cage. All of them just attacking like this, attacking Darby Allin, because they still have that feud going on. And remember what they said in your review. Like, hey, Taz was complaining that these two guys are ranked really high in AEW, but they don't even have a match. So, like, they attack him.
What did you think of that, like, that whole sequence? Did you think it should have been something, save it for Wednesday, let Darby Allin have the moment, or do you think that's
a lot of people was complaining about that. A lot of people were saying that, like, he should have had his moment, but it's the TNT Championship, It's not the World Heavyweight Championship. It's not that. So I was
do you think they could have did something different where, like, let's say you just have him sitting in the crowd? You could have did something like that, or do you personally like the beatdown?
I didn't mind this. The only thing I minded is that Cody got involved and he has to help out. So you know what that's going to be. They're going to have a match now. They're going to have a match with like these two guys, Cody and Darby against Ricky Starks.
Yeah, see, if I would have did anything, I would have had the beatdown. If you wanted to sell it, have the beatdown like that. Have Will Hobbs be the only one who makes the save, and have Cody be standing on the ramp and like looking at Darby Allin's ass kick. Cody could have been like, hey, this ain't my problem. I'm
Yeah.
not the TNT champ no more. This ain't my problem. And then that also signifies he's kind of a dick. He's
Yes.
kind of a heel.
Like
So
a
it's like,
heel, he
okay,
doesn't want to
yeah.
help out. Doesn't want to help out. Yes, exactly. So like that's one of the things that I think, like you said, Will Hobbs came in. He even came with a chair. Look, and everybody else retrieves. So like, they're still giving me that same story. It's not over with between these guys. So like,
now, you want to know what I would do, like for a legit thing?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how this would go with Taz trying to get a match for the other two guys, but if next week they would do a tag team match and then Will Hobbs turns on him, joins Team Taz, and then that's the match. Would be like Will Hobbs versus
Darby Allin.
Darby Allin for the
you have a
yeah.
fresh matchup, and for the TNT Championship between two guys that are new, and then you can breed them to be like your new wave of guys.
Now the only thing with that is Will Hobbs still looked pretty green. He didn't look like he was like, knows what he's really doing in the ring. So I don't know how good that matchup would be. To me, the money match again is Ricky Starks.
Oh, Ricky Starks and Darby Allin. That's that should be like kind of like a cruiserweight, like champions. Like this is like how we're gonna like expose our championship. And now finally Darby, even there was in the car, it said like, oh, TNT's new face, or I'm the face of TNT, like that. So
and you know what? And this is the one thing I'll say: he's the first guy who is not an ex WWE guy to hold the singles title. So that's cool. And also, he's one of the organic guys. I feel.
Yes.
Like AEW made him. Yeah. So that's really cool. I liked it. To me, this is like a history, like a first. Like one of the homegrown guys is now a champion.
Milestones, like you said, milestones of AEW, something different, and yeah, it's good. We're not complaining about that. If Cody turns heel, that will be even better because it's like a man, like a management figure, like authority figure. Like, hey, I made the matches. I'm tired of being face.
Like Triple H.
Like Triple H, yeah, and also like the one thing to mention also, Jean Paul, he finally used his whole name. So Justin Roberts called him Cody Rhodes. So he was really excited about that. Everybody's like, oh, popping for that. So good stuff for Cody. He got his last name back. So good stuff.
Yep, they did say the son of a plumber. They got
the son of a plumber. Exactly, like Dusty Rose. So there you go, Jean Paul. Let's go to like the women's match. Hikaru Shida against Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero on her side or by her side. This was a good match. Hikaru Shida looked absolutely intense, pissed off. She went with like everything at it. I think it was a pretty, really great match. I think both women's matches during this whole pay-per-view were pretty good. The only thing is, like, for me, Nyla Rose is just buried after this jump. I don't want to see Nyla Rose ever again because what's for her to do?
Yeah, they completely fucked up with one. The match went too long. I thought like the buy-in match, it was a good length for that title match. Just went too long. Too much of like the chair and the interference and all this stuff. I didn't like how every match was interference, and then to skip to the aftermath to then go back to the match, if you'll let me. I don't like how Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose, there's already fighting between them.
Yes.
Like they just got together. We saw nothing of them because they got banished to AEW Dark for how many months. Yes. Now they come back on actual TV and now they're fighting after one loss.
Yes.
So to me, that's like stupid booking. But the match, there was some really good spots. I think Nyla Rose is good, but like you said, we don't see her. You bring her back and she loses. So then that's almost like you're burying her. Like what the hell?
And that's how I feel. Yeah. For example, I really love when Hikaru did a suplex on Nyla because Nyla actually put her whole body, and then she did a superplex. I really like all those spots, like.
I mean, Nyla still looked really dominant, and I like how when she hit, I don't know if it was when she hit the Beast Bomb or what it was, but then when she picked her up, she's like, like it's not done. It's not done yet. And then later on in the match, when Shida hit, I think it was the Falcon Arrow. Yeah, she did the same thing. She's like, it's not done yet. Like it's cool. It reminded me of like kind of like an anime fight or something. They're like, it was really cool. She got
showing dominance from both women. And like I said, like Shida, like the intensity that she had, she was really aggressive. The level of aggression, it was really good. Like I said, she wanted to be the crowd on Nyla Rose, and that was good. I really like that. And I like Tamashi is like a good finisher. He's like kind of like a Kinshasa. It's kind of like a beat trigger, but in her version of like Hikaru Shida, the knee strike that she does, and she won with that. I think Jean Paul, it was good. What does Hikaru, like you said, for me, the money feud is what Britt Baker. So this should have been the feud for now, and that's when Britt get the title away from Shida. I don't understand why was this needed. Nyla Rose.
I mean, the only thing I could say with this is because one, Tony Khan is scared of women and he hates the women's division, and he forgot to book a women's match for Full Gear, and they're like, shit, what do we do? And also, like, how do we legitimize, Hikaru Shida maybe to lead into the Britt Baker thing, or like whatever their plan is. If they or maybe they're going to sign a really big, women's name, besides Allison Kay. Who knows what they're going to do?
Could be the next feud also.
But I was going to say is I feel like this legitimizes Hikaru Shida as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, it's not the worst thing. And if you're going to ask me, oh well, what would you rather have Nyla Rose won? No, I would have rather had a different match. But if you're going to do this matchup, then no, Hikaru Shida needed to win.
Oh yeah, like we get to see right there this great picture of like still AEW World Champion. I think that like you said, I want to see Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida because that to me is the money feud. Why? Because Britt Baker is a more stronger heel than what like Nyla Rose is. Because Nyla is good, yes, but like the mic skill is not there, or like the fact that she has to use Vicky Guerrero. And another big thing that you said, Dynamite, pretty much Vicky is never there. So we got to see AEW Dark that nobody really watches AEW Dark. So why do I have to go there to kind of see where Nyla Rose is? So I rather see Impact. I mean, not Impact. I rather see Dynamite, and I can see like a Britt Baker every single week, and I will be more enticed to like see. Oh, there's going to be a feud, and they're going to have a match. But that's what they did. Do I think it's the right thing to do? No, but at least Hikaru Shida is still champion, and I'm okay with that. So Jean-Paul, let's go now to like the tag team championship match. This, for a lot of people, it was the best match of the night. Well, I want to ask you your thoughts. Was this the best match for you or no?
It was really long, and it was so. The thing with a match that's really long, that's high, like high action like this, is there's so much back and forth. It's really hard to tell like if there is even a story going on. Now the story of like, oh yeah, Matt Jackson's leg. But that's not really like a story of like a new thing. Like, oh, look, they isolated the guy, and oh, once he made a hot tag to Nick, that was the big comeback, and then they hit the finisher and done. I mean, that might have been something that it happened, but there was a million other parts in between it that it's so long, so hard to follow. For me, it wasn't the best match of the night. It was still a really good match. But the match to me really suffered because of the build-up. I'll be honest with you. The match, I couldn't really be into it as much because you knew the Bucks were going to win. It was a really stupid fucking stipulation that put a dark cloud above the match. Like everybody was like, "So the Bucks are going to win now." Yeah. People knew the Bucks were going to win to begin with, but this essentially put the stamp on it, and fucking put it in the the mail-in ballot. Like, I'm voting Biden. This was like, it was done. This was like, there was no changing it.
I agree. Yeah.
So that kind of took it away from me. The one thing I do like though, there's no Tully Blanchard. I like the
ringside.
Yeah, I like the outfits they came out in. Like the entrance gear and everything. It looked really legit and good match. These guys have good chemistry considering the styles are different, but like I said, it was predictable. Who was going to win. That I really thought FTR might have won it when they hit their finisher, the Midnight Hour, Midnight Express, or whatever it's called.
The mind break.
Whatever they changed it to now. And then, but of course, like he bounced all the way at the ropes, and then he got his foot on it, and I was like, you dumb bastard. As soon as he didn't pull him away from the ropes, I was like, no, he's gonna get his foot up, and that's gonna be it. And that's what it was.
So Jean-Paul, at least you can tell that you were into it because you remember those spots in the match. Also, we gotta see tributes to the Hardy Boys, to the Dudley Boys, to the Steiners, to the Hart Foundation, and even DIY because they have like.
Oh yeah, they did mention that when they did the point and the kick. Yeah.
Yeah, see, because it was all. This is more like a dream match for everybody that loves professional wrestling. Everybody that knows that tag team is like what FTR and the Young Bucks represent. That's what they had. And like you said, I mean, a little bit too long, but this was pretty much one of the top marquee matches that they had. And like you said, though, when you put a stipulation like that, you pretty much are telling me who the winner is going to be. And is the situation, we're not going to challenge for the titles ever again? Well, there you go. They're going to become champions. So, and also Jean-Paul, FTR only had a few months the titles. So from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, they lose the titles. So it hasn't been a long run, hasn't been a credible run for them. Maybe they're gonna drop the titles quick, the Bucks to FTR one more time. Maybe they're gonna play hot potato a little bit. But I mean, for people that say that the Young Bucks, at least they gave a chance to others. That way you can say, hey, at least they're the champions now. It took a whole year and some months for them to have the AEW Tag Team Champions. So Like,
Yeah,
tell me.
I think they should have been the team who should have got the tag belt. Now, like looking back on it, they should have been the team to win the tag belts first. They should have honestly been the first team, dropped it to somebody else, made them legit. If they wanted FTR, they should have been the tag champs from the beginning, held them until this point, and then dropped it to FTR.
Yeah,
And they should have been baby faces, had the legit title run. They lose it, and then they turn heel from here. If you wanted to have them turn heel, or if you want to do it the way you did it, you should have had FTR come in as baby faces, not as heels, and then flip them and make it weird, and then you flip the Bucks, and because to me, I like the image of seeing Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks all holding gold as like the 3 heel team.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool if that's what they're going to do. I don't see him. I don't see him dropping the belt to back to FTR. I see him having a legit title reign, and the only thing now is what do you do with FTR?
Yes.
Do you have them be heels and feud with babyface teams, or do you make them babyface, or do you just not know what to do with them? Because hey, you gave people the dream match, and now we're good.
That's what I mean. So it's like we'll see how they continue this story, because pretty much to me it's like they have to do another match. To me at least, they have to do another match. Whether the Bucks are gonna keep.
And what did they hit? Did they hit the BTE?
Yes.
Or did they hit the milk driver?
Yeah, it was the BT. Yes, it was the BT.
Okay.
How they beat them, and we knew that that's what's gonna happen. So, am I excited about it? No, but you said it, a stipulation like that already tells me the winner. So Jean Paul, happy for everybody that loves the Young Bucks. There, we put the picture one more time. There you go, new AEW Tag Team Champions. Let's go, Jean Paul, to the next match on the card. The Elite Deletion. Matt Hardy goes against Sammy Guevara.
Way too long.
There you go.
Way too long.
Way too long. It reminded me of Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. Remember when he was
This reminded me of an episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, like a little Hardy compound. This had a lot of things. Of course, a little bit cinematic. Not as cinematic as WWE will do a match, but very cinematic, like the Hardy compound. We've seen everything that we've seen in WWE on Impact. The same, the Lake of Reincarnation. We saw the Hardy house, all of that. So I wasn't really into this because again, I've seen it with Bray Wyatt. It was just the same thing. Is that night they're beating each other up. Matt Hardy kicks out of everything. Sammy had a really good showing. I really like that. Even he did.
Sammy looked really good, and I like that spot too. Like you said, the swanton off when he had him on or maybe that was just a splash. I don't remember when he had him on the table and then he jumped off the ladder.
Yeah,
then,
that was a swanton.
Yeah, that was a good spot. I thought he was going to pin him there, and maybe Sammy was going to go over. And see, that would have been. Tell me what you thought of this. If Sammy would have went over. And then maybe Sammy starts. We finally don't see Matt Hardy on TV for a while. Yeah. And then Sammy is broken. Like maybe he starts doing the laugh thing, and he's like,
turns into a little bit like Matt Hardy.
And then that would be a way to break him away from the inner circle. Do something legit with him because he had 2 really good showings. Really great match last week on Dynamite, or this week on Dynamite rather. And I'm glad that commentary even said that. They even said Jim Ross was like, man, Sammy Guevara had a hell of a match, this week. I'm glad he even brought it up again. Yeah. And this match, even though some of it was weird and cinematic and all over the place, he looked good and dominant. Sammy, he can talk too.
Oh yeah, Sammy
everything.
We can say Sammy, in a few years he can really be the future.
I always say, what did we always say since day one? This guy's legit, but he's the guy who always loses in the inner circle. He's the weakest link. He's the guy who gets shit on.
And we got to see surprises, right, Jean Paul? Said, we didn't think Sting, but we saw somebody wearing a coat, and that was Gangrel. We got to see Gangrel, and we got to see the Hurricane Shane Helms. I guess he's not be part of WWE anymore. And
I think he was one of the casualties of the firings, I believe.
Yes, he was one of them, but they said a lot of people were saying that after a few more months they were gonna bring back. But we got to see these 2 guys. We haven't seen Gangrel in forever.
Maybe we'll see a feud. Maybe we'll see a feud with these guys because Gangrel still has his school and he's still to take some bumps, so maybe we'll see something going on.
Yeah, he has the asylum. We got to see the inner circle interfering,
because didn't he even say he was Sammy? He's like, I helped train Sammy, so he knows him. So maybe
I was your mentor, and I was your mentor too, because me referring Matt Hardy, because remember, they were a little bit, they tried to, when Edge and Christian were feuding with the Hardy Boys at the early beginnings of the Attitude Era. They also like kind of Gangrel was managing a little bit of the Hardy Boys. So yeah, they remember all of those things. So that was cool. Like I see, he's seeing the Hurricane, seeing like how like he was using the fireworks jump, like with the gun and like he was.
Like the shoot like the Roman candles and stuff.
Yeah, like shooting like at like Sammy, like you could see like how like it almost lights on like Sammy gets on fire and all of that. So overall, I think it was okay. Yeah, once they put this private party also intervened because like Sammy got the inner circle behind him, and then Matt Hardy kind of used like the walkie-talkie or something. It's like, I need help, and then they go, okay, oh dude, he needs us. And he's like, oh, where is it? So that was a little dumb. But
they are awkward. They are like, I mean, there's so many people that are kind of, private party is like they're worse than the Street Profits. And to me, they're worse than, the Rascals, like Trey and Miguel. Like, I'll kind of compare them too. Like, they're like, no, they're so bad, private party. Like, they should not speak. They should be like Lars Sullivan and don't speak.
Yes. So, like, at the end of this, though, like you said, Matt Hardy, like, leg of a reincarnation, we were actually, like, we're going to see something, like, different on this. No, well, at least,
What did you think of the shot at Jim Cornette when towards the end of it when they were fighting in the field and Sammy was on the ground and he's like, get up, Samuel. And he's like, or people will think this is a mud show.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, you said it all the time. They don't like Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette also, like, loves to, like, shot at them. So, of course, they're going to go back and forth. That's, and it's okay. I mean, in the end of the day, like, if they know how to play with it, hey, Like you listen to his show.
Jim Cornette, he said one of the things he says is he wishes he didn't have to watch the show or not have to, but he wishes he didn't choose to watch it and talk about it because he's like, I feel like a lot of people only watch it because I bitch about it.
Hey, there you go. He gets a lot of promotion. But like towards the end of the match, like Matt Hardy, like got him into like inside of like another room of the Hardy compound, and then he beat him with like the Twist of Fate, and then he did a concerto. And there was a little bit of color on it. I like this. That was like so good. Sammy like sold the hell out of that. It was cool. And even Hardy goes like, this is over. It's the end. Finally. So you see like they finally put this feud to rest. And that is something that I'm really happy about because I don't want to see this feud ever again. It's
again.
And then we kind of see Senior Benjamin. Senior Benjamin, and because they put him inside of a trash can, I think. They put Sam inside of a trash can. It's like, hey, Senior Benjamin, take this trash away from the Hardy compound. And then he laughed. And then we got to see a private party, Gregory Helms, the Hurricane, all of them, just celebrating with Robert Hardy. So, good. I mean, like you said, it would have been better if Hardy decides to, like, put over on different talent. But in this case, I guess, it's the Hardy compound. So he's, like, kind of like being Finn Balor being the demon. He's never going to lose if he's using that.
When I see this stuff, and I mean, maybe I'm being too extreme here, but this is to me like seeing this is Team Extreme. This is like seeing like AJ like lose to like Bubba Ray or Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash in Impact or like TNA. I'm like, why is the guy who's the homegrown talent who should be the future and should be the legit guys losing to the old guy?
Oh yeah, that
like this guy's already over. Like people are gonna be like, oh, Matt Hardy legit, the lead or V1 like legit. But it's like if Guevara loses, they'll be like, dude, you suck.
Yeah, I mean,
like come on.
They have to, like, I guess for this type of feud, okay, he gets the rub from Matt Hardy. Everybody,
especially because they never switched. Like when did Sammy win on TV? He never won. It's not like he has a pay-per-view win.
He never won.
Yeah.
No, in TV he kind of did, but like on pay-per-view he never did. But like you said, it is like the decision making sometimes, like,
and especially because it's not like they're gonna go, oh yeah, John Moxley's next opponent is gonna be Matt Hardy. It's not like Matt Hardy. Not like Matt Hardy.
He's going to be like the mentor for Private Party.
Yeah.
And then that's going to turn into something like a potential feud for any title. So, we'll see what happens on that. Let's go to the next match on Paul. Chris Jericho against MJF. If MJF wins, he'll join. He'll be part of the inner circle. By this time, it's already kind of like 11 o'clock. So that's the one thing, maybe I don't know about you, but like, don't you think the pay-per-view can be a little too long at times?
Well, yeah, if you would have shaved down a lot of time on the matches, the previous matches, it wouldn't have been so bad. I really enjoyed this match. This was a hell of a lot better than Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. That's just because MJF is an actual wrestler, legit, also trained by Brian Myers. And, and Jericho, he looked good in this because he was actually working with somebody who I said is a legit wrestler.
Yes.
Jericho was doing his stuff that, he looks good doing. Like I said, 30 years in the biz, still good. You got to give it to Le Champion. And, while the ending to a lot of these matches, this and the Kenny Omega match, I thought really good. Just the ending was, it was like a little bit. I don't know who books the endings, but,
It was a little different. I want to say yes. I like the fact that Jericho got all his offense in. Like the spot with the code breaker. He did the Judas effect early on in the match on the outside. MJF looked really good because he was putting the soul of the air. Going with it. Kind of like try to isolate Jericho's arm and all of that. So they really had a good match, and it was like, to me, this was quick. It didn't feel long. And that helped me because, like I said, they're kind of like long, and like you said, after the Bucks, like a Hikaru Shida, that you kind of like enjoy those matches. Kenny Omega, you're kind of a little juiced out, and to see you want to kind of like have the same energy for a match like this, and it's difficult at times. But like they gave us a really good showing, and also I really like how like MJF pretty much played like Eddie Guerrero. That was the whole narrative towards the end.
Oh yeah, I like that I love that with the bat, and then he just falls to the ground, and the ref's like, huh?
Yeah, Audrey Edwards was the ref also.
Yes.
Of that, and like you said, like, and then he got distracted because Jericho started arguing with Audrey, and then MJF did pretty much a pin and a roll up, and that's what it was, Jean Paul. Done.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was the same thing with Darby Allin. His finishers. This is MJF, the salt of the earth. Darby's the coffin drop. When you see the finisher happen in the match, and they kick out or they get a rope break or they reverse the or whatever they do, it's like you can't really see it again. It won't be legit. You won't be like, oh my god, whatever. So you almost have to resort to a roll up. So that's what they did here. It was a sneaky way, and maybe this is something now. It'll just add a little bit more heat because it'll be like, yeah, I beat you. I'm in the inner circle now, and it's like you beat me with a roll up. It was bullshit. So this is obviously just going to play off the storyline. So we'll see where they go on Wednesday.
Oh yeah, like you said,
and because another thing they said too is like, the addition of Wardlow because MJF owns Wardlow, and now he's in the inner circle. So how's that going to affect Wardlow and Hager and everything? So
you would, yeah, because they have a but you see in the picture right there, Jean Paul, like. You see, like, how at the beginning Jericho doubted. He's like, oh, really? But then in the end, yeah, deep.
They hugged and everything. He's like, what's up, then?
And come here, come here, son. So, like, you see, like, they're all legit. So, we'll see, like, a lot of people are saying that maybe Jericho is going to turn babyface because MJF is going to try to be the new leader. He's going to.
I was going to say, yeah, I could easily see that he kicks him out. And maybe they do Jericho and Wardlow. Maybe they team up.
Maybe
take everyone else out.
Things along those lines, kind of like a new inner circle because like more fresh blood. Jericho's in the old side of the things. We'll see what they do, but like it's interesting, and we knew that like kind of MJF was going to win. But see, of course, in a way that like it's not going to jeopardize Jericho. It's not going to make Jericho look bad.
Yes.
It's not going to put Jericho in danger. So now, Jean Paul, let's go to the main event. Like we already announced the Revolution, so let's go with like Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston I Quit match for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. This to me, I'm not a big fan sometimes, and I love Jon Moxley. Sometimes I'm not a fan of his matches though, because sometimes he like the endings or like the quality match is not there. But they gave us toys, and the stipulation of the I Quit made it a lot better because it made Eddie Kingston like able to use the toys, and Moxley the same thing. We got to see the barbed wire, we got to see thumbtacks, we got to see color. All of those things help out to me because they told me a really good story, at least for me, Jean Paul.
All right, yeah, this match, I really liked it for the main event. I've been saying it for weeks that this story is done way better than, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns. That is like so overdone and dramatic. It's not even good. This is real. You bring in Mama. He's like, I don't have no wife. I don't have no, grandchild for you because I was chasing this. I'm finally here. I have my opportunity. And, the promo he cut before the show on, the buy-in, everything real serious, no business. They always say he's the loudest guy in the room. He was real quiet. He was real serious. This match was really good. It was violent, but there was still wrestling. It wasn't like over the top, like, hey, just lay there while I set up 42 tables and I slam you through all of them. No, everything it was real. It was, let me wrap barbed wire around my fist and punch you in the face. Let me suplex you onto a thing of thumbtacks. It was all, they used the weapons, but it was all in a realistic way. but that's what these guys have been doing for how many years, so they're good at it. And that's what you said. Moxley's not the best wrestler, but sometimes when you give him gimmicks, you give him crutches, especially with a guy with Eddie Kingston, who I think is a better wrestler than Jon Moxley, if you want to be honest. And then them together, this match was really good. This was a good main event, told the story. The only thing, and especially this past week and what, the video packages they were showing, I was really hoping for the transitional champ. I was hoping he would have won here. That would have been so legit for him. If you want to do right by the fans and you want to do right by this guy, make him the transitional champ. And then, not saying it's, the main match is Omega and Moxley too, but you easily could have did that later down the line. Moxley could have challenged, and you could have put Omega over, because you're going to put Omega over here anyway. So just have Moxley be the challenger. But, give Kingston the title reign, make it legit. But, that's not what they did. And the ending, though, I do like it. If Moxley had to go over, it was a good way to do it.
Oh yeah, no, it was a pretty good way to do it. Like you said, I really liked the intensity when he was doing that promo. He wasn't just staring at the camera and like, oh yeah, I'm gonna beat you. That was good. When he used the alcohol, and he put the alcohol all over the thumbtacks, on Jon Moxley's back with the thumbtacks. That was really great. Color all over. I really like the whole story, and through the whole new reviews and kind of seeing the video packages, I kind of got behind Eddie Kingston. I was like, maybe I'm not, too thrilled to see this guy as champion, but the whole narrative is right there for me to understand that we've all been in that point before. Now we got to sacrifice that we're sacrificing right now, to give you the best review in the business. So I wanted the Eddie Kingston to win. Unfortunately, Moxley's gonna retain, because Moxley, even JR said he went to Kingston, Brian Cage, he went to Lance Archer, he went to Jake Hager, Brody Lee. He's going for a lot of he's pretty much gonna be almost a year champion. So,
yeah, and the only thing that sucks is because you have Moxley. He's a guy who you're not just have him going to drop the title on TV. So unless they're going to do another a Fighter Fest, a show or a special, even though it's just an episode on TV, I don't know how they're going to do it, because I feel like they're really pushing for this Omega matchup, because we saw him. He came out after this thing was over, but what are you going to do? Just give this match away on TV? I don't think so. So how long are they going to drag this feud out for? But if it was Kingston. Again, no offense to Eddie Kingston, but that's a match that's maybe less desirable by some fans. You could have easily did that on that episode of Dynamite. Boom, then Omega's your new champ. Unless
that could have easily been, in the episode of Dynamite, maybe the last episode of the year, kind of special, give it more meaning to that. Or like you said, he wins the championship, and maybe in the last episode of Dynamite of the year, then Jon Moxley gets his rematch and he wins it back. And like you said, it's just a transitional champion. You do something different. Everybody wasn't expecting for the title switch. And then, everybody kind of gets more eyes on the product. Oh, they did this. Let me check it out. But, they went through the safest bet, and that was Jon Moxley to retain, where, you see in the picture, Kenny Omega came out. Kenny Omega, pretty much his chest looking like Ilja Dragunov from NXT UK, or what we already reviewed 1 week ago. But overall, Jean-Paul, this was a good pay-per-view. They gave us, they deliver. AEW at least closes the year pay-per-view wise on a good note. We're really excited to see what's going to happen in Revolution. I think that's going to be the title switch, because if you think about it, Jon Moxley will walk in as a whole year as a champion. So that's when you can really say, okay, well, Kenny, it's your time to carry the torch. Let's see what you can do with it, or let's see how long you can keep the title for. So at least those are my closing thoughts on this AEW Full Gear pay-per-view, Jean-Paul. And you can actually, guys, if you want to do a little bit of reliving, you can check AEW Full Gear review a year ago with Jean-Paul and myself, and you can see how much we have evolved. So, Jean-Paul, your closing thoughts, and also tell us where they can find us in the social media world.
Well, the closing thoughts, I agree. This was a really solid pay-per-view. A couple matches went a little long. Some of them could have went a little longer. Some of the outcomes a little bit But other than that, I really don't have any major complaints about this show. It was good. I'm excited for the future for AEW. I think that the pieces are in place. It's just, are they going to go down the right path or not? And that's, everything with the title picture, with how they're going to handle Hangman Page, and a lot of the main stuff
coming back.
Yes. So we'll see how it goes. I have my fingers crossed, but another solid pay-per-view. And where to find us, for this review and all the other reviews, you can find us on Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, the Original Rope Break right here on YouTube for the #1 podcast, the YouTube wrestling community, and of course our newest home, alleverythingentertainment.com.
Thank you so much, Jean Paul Egg, and you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is.
Duh.